again. Here. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. Our first setup is basically going to be when our opponent is postured. If Ronan is down, like say chest to chest, it's going to be hard for me to create this angle. Not impossible, but it's going to be hard. The rule that we're playing with is basically having ways of bringing your training partner's elbow in towards their center line. So whether like that's with 2-on-1s, so I can sit up, maybe it's with arm drags. We've different ways we can do it with, like say, different kind of like a sweep, so we can do like say failed sweeps to the octopus, and I can also do it with using my legs. So like say if he postures up, and then all I'm going to do is basically move rolling in one direction. We'll go into details in a minute how we do it, and I move my head in the opposite direction here, and then we start to sit up where we can come into this octopus guard, and it's an excellent position. Allows me to get the back, and allows me to get like nice sweeps and everything from here, which we'll cover. Yeah. So if you're in last night's class, we did some work from half guard. So first drill, just working on bringing the elbows across the body. So I'm going to take like a 2-on-1 grip. So I'm going to go thumb down on this one, elbow across, and I feed this across at that angle we were talking about. Pinky goes into the armpit, elbow goes to the head, left foot to the floor, retract your elbow to your shoulder. And my goal here now for this sweep or this position is to get my head higher than Ronan's, and then we start to come into scrambles. I need to get my hips higher than Ronan's hips. So if Ronan tries to counter from here without putting my hips lower than his or his head higher than mine, if you try to do it, Ronan, this should be hard. It's a strong position. Whereas if I'm kind of here, Ronan, the way he's able to counter, get cross faces and everything else. So 3-part drill. Number 1, arm drag, start to climb. Number 2, elbow and wrist, feed it across, start to climb. And then the last one, using our legs. So when he's postured up, I'm basically going to like swing my legs over my left shoulder, and I move to my right side here, and we start to climb. All right, so that's a little tip. If your partner is posturing and they kind of have their hands like say on your hips, what I kind of find is basically if I can get my thumbs underneath like say his wrist, and I do a little hip bump, and then I start that swinging action here, and I start to climb. Pinky on the armpit, elbow wedges towards the head, elbow on the floor, left foot on the mat, and I pull my elbow behind my shoulder here. The first technique that we're going to do is I'm going to get some height on Ronan, so I'm going to go from an elbow to a hand post, and we're going to go into our hip bump. So basically it's the hip bump. I'm doing like a hip heist with this right hand. I'm going to bump. So imagine bumping my like left hip into his belly button. So it's a bump, and then I'm going to finish with a scissor, like you would learn, like say from close guard, your regular scissor sweep from close guard. So I'll show you what it looks like here, and then we get our hands into position, and we can start working from here. So one more time. So he's posturing again, hands are on the hips. We start this swinging action, climb. See the way that time I went like say right hand, switch to left hand. Up on top, Ronan, you try turn in. A big detail as well, one way Ronan can counter this is if I leave space between my lat and Ronan's lat. So I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit. Here, see the way you can punch an underhook and start to flatten me out. So when you do come up, make sure you have good connection here. So if you try to get an underhook, this is going to be hard, all right? So hip heist, left hip goes into his belly button. I look over my right shoulder, and then I finish with a scissor. Here, then we come up on top and start attacking from the mount. All right, so 3, 2, 1. So we were all about different setups using arm drags, 2-on-1s, and one that we're focused on this morning is just basically like little hip bump, send his head in one direction, and I move my body in the opposite direction. If I'm in a position where I've loads of space and I can just reach for the octopus guard, then I can do that, yeah? But again, someone that's like resistant and maybe they're aware of it, what we're going to do is I bump and I use the opposite hand, and then all I'm going to do is basically feed my left hand through here, and then I pass off from left to right, and I start to see the way I'm hipping backwards, up with my elbow, up my hand, and then we finish with our sweep. So that's definitely going to be a benefit to you when you put this into live training. So again, so we're here, loads of space, sit up. If I find that someone's just a little bit tighter, Here, keep the posture broke. You try, like you're trying to climb around and take his back, all right? So this hand comes up, so a bladed hand, and I just move my head away slightly. That gets my elbow and shoulder in, and then we pass off from right to left. Little hip escape, open your elbow, open your hand. Remember the battle is we want to get our head and hips higher than our opponents. Most of the weight is on my left foot, so that's the far side. I scissor, press off the floor, and then look over my right shoulder to get into the mount. So this one's really nice, especially getting into a lockdown and a sweep from the same position. So here, we bump, come up on top, get my octopus. Maybe I find that not able to get the hip escape, or the hip escape and then the hip bump to sweep him over. So all I do is just slide my foot back and I put my foot inside. So his right leg splits my legs. Left goes over his leg, that goes underneath my own foot, and then we just go into a basic lockdown. All right, and this is excellent. So I'm gonna get my head towards his knee, and I'm gonna go elbow deep here. I start to frame on the armpit, and the leg goes up on my shoulder, and you can see where this goes. You can go into submissions, or just kind of come up on top, and then we go into an excellent kind of smash fast position. We can work from here. So really simple, really strong. So it's a great technique. So again, so we're here, I bump, maybe rolling's a little bit tighter, hand comes through, move your head away, grip the armpit, open your elbow, hip escape and put your foot inside. So that's the first change we're doing. Left foot goes over, and then I put my left under my right calf, and then we basically just go laces to laces, and then extend our training partner's leg. Head goes towards the knee, we go elbow deep, and then I'm gonna use this frame on his armpit to keep his head away from mine. I'm gonna get the calf on my shoulder, and then we just do like a leg press, come up on top, we're on our elbow, hand post, and then we bring our head towards our training partner's head, go into all our different types of passes from there. So again. Here.